Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about relationships. Maybe you know or maybe you don't know, but she is deaf. Yes, very deaf. She can't hear anything. So I am hearing. So obviously it's different for deaf and hearing relationships because there's a lot of oppressive people out there, and talking about what's deaf and what's hearing culture. So tip number one is accept the other person's culture. Okay, so sometimes one thing to accept is the other person's culture. Understand hearing people have theirs and deaf have theirs. And you need to understand that each of you grew up in very different cultures and respect each other's understandings and be comfortable with that variation. Accept that. And something deaf people do that hearing people aren't used to is that they don't know some people don't touch each other often in hearing culture. Deaf people often hug and like touch, and it's a very personal boundary breaker. Like but hearing people are very visual, and or deaf people are very visual, but others are somewhere in between, and they're very dependent on how you say. Deaf people are good and somewhere in the middle, but it's very strong deaf household. Different things are done there. Hearing people might be a little more oppressed, but you're very accepting of that. Figure out interpreting issues. So tip number two, especially if I don't know, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Deaf person marriage to a hearing person can be very misleading. Especially if you're becoming an interpreter, because you're leaving, you're missing out, or you have a personal issue with it. They're nice, but not to you. And the person understands that maybe interpreting for her would for your wife wouldn't be exactly the right thing to do. Or I interpreted for work, and when I come home, I'm done. But when I go out, if we go, I don't know, to travel or something, there's going to be an interpreter there, and I might have to, there's not going to be an interpreter there, so I might have to interpret for her, and I have to accept that, because the important thing is that if I feel like I can't interpret something, I don't have to. Or if someone comes up to me and says that it's important information, then I will. And yeah, that's what I really have to respect, because I can't become codependent on her for interpreting needs, because that will collapse our relationship and the dependency won't be equal. And so it's better for me to just be all right with that and be like, I'm good by myself. Like, I don't need it. I'm okay. Like, and she can feel the same way. You're fine. You're awesome. But it's fine. I'm fine by myself. I'm good. Yeah, and that's exactly right. People just aren't. Um, they're not used to it when you're married to interpreters. So, okay. Number three is the same, about noises. Her hearing loud noises and I can't. So maybe something loud all of a sudden happens, and the reason that she notices it is because it's like somebody knocking on the door, and I'm like, I can't hear it myself. I don't know what's going on. But I can't control that. I have to accept it, or have to understand that there's a lot more going on than I can hear. Like, there's loud music. No, like, there was a specific time and a place, and it's fine to calm down and use headphones or whatever. And we have to respect each other's noise levels. And I have a funny story about when we were together. And a couple years ago, I was going to the doctor's. I know you know what I'm talking about. And I remember something always showing up and her being like going to appear, and sometimes she would scream and like hey Mitch. So I think she was 7. I was like, oh, you, and I was like, oh, you have a dog. And I would like notice and I would laugh, but she's like, no, that's just what I call my or no, that's my wife. And it was me, but I always thought it was funny at the time, and I thought it was cute. Like, oh, I'm married, and you really should like, and like people just make their comments, and it's not about that. Like, calm down, it's okay. Like, it's people might think it's weird, but you know, we stand by it. It's fine. It's important to remember. It's like Standard Charter and my shirts. What? Number 4 tip is I'll leave all my facts. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I backed up way too far. Tip number 4 is I don't know word for word, but so please bear with me. I'll leave a comment down below, but if you want to let me know that people growing up, excuse me, there's like a thin wire, I don't know, but where the person is doing something or listening to something and you hear other people talking, involving communicating or something loud noises or something, and you have that knowledge but the person doesn't hear well or doesn't notice the sirens or common sense knowledge, and showing that example in that competition. What's the word? That game, that shape, that you remember that for them to see it, for those people, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, so I'm trying to trombone, I don't know, that music. Okay. It's a musical instrument, but I think that's how the word that I was looking for, but I don't know. Specifically, deaf people love music, and it's not about the words or listening to them, but it's you have to remember that, oh, stupid, they don't know how to hear. That's not true. And it's a very situational type thing, a very emotional type situation where growing up hearing, knowing something is happening, but it's not important to me, or people don't want to tell me. It's kind of what it is. Like, you understand, you hear, but the information is very different. And accepting that and knowing that is really different too. So it's that balance, right? Okay, tip number 5 is really important for deaf understanding. She's hearing. So for communication processes, it's fine, but you need to respect her use of voice. Whatever day or how she's feeling or voicing enough or whatever, calling them, calling someone, going to see a hearing friend, for whatever reason, you need to respect that because she grew up hearing. She can't magically become deaf overnight. Like it's not a thing. She can't do it. She's not going to stop talking and be completely silent. That's not how she was raised. So, and that can be very oppressive for people too, is like hearing people like, why can't you stop talking? Like, I don't know, really, like sometimes I want to talk and sometimes talking is upsetting. And you need to use my voice. I don't know. Like, deaf voicing is important. Like, if you want to say something and I need to voice it, that doesn't mean stop signing. Like, I'm talking, but that doesn't happen all the time, okay? So tip number 6, the last tip, is watching things with closed captionings. So there's a few things about this that we need to discuss. You need to understand that maybe for them, the hearing partner is watching and doesn't like the closed captions. So if you notice that, what to do, you need to decide what's more important, her watching or me watching. Like, I don't really mind the closed captions, but if she wants to watch and something shows up and we want to watch it together, I have to have closed captions on, obviously. Like, I can't sign the whole movie, but something around let me do that. If you talk about open something happening and hearing person understands that maybe going to the movies, or we need to go somewhere where there's closed captions, or we can't watch something if there's no closed captions. You have to understand that I'll just go watch it. If you can't watch it, you can't. That's not enough. That's not equal. Like, you want to go and watch, fine, whatever, go. Like, but that's what's nice about it, is it's an equal relationship. You don't think that's the same thing. If you don't care, other people might feel like that's like a killer to their confidence, but I don't know, or disheartening, but I feel like it's not a problem with our relationship, and that can really cause resentment. And yes, that's really true. And if you want to go to the movies and they have closed captions or closed captions movies, I don't know, do they have those anymore? I don't know. See, I don't know either. But you know what I mean. But if you don't, excuse me, I'm okay. I don't need to go to the movies and see a show or without her. Like, I'm okay with that if they don't have closed captions. Like, I don't want to go to we don't go to the movies that often. It's not cheap to go to the movie theater, but it's like something you just have to accept eventually. And it's important for both of us to respect each other and to respect that. There's other options. So that's kind of nice. All right. So that's tips for deaf and hearing relationships. I'm sure there's many other tips that we just didn't cover, but if you have any more tips or questions, leave a comment down below. Or if you have questions for us, or are there any other comments about whatever you want to know about Jenna, about me, a different perspective from my perspective, or have any other questions about either of our perspectives, and you want her perspective. You know what I mean. So if you want to see some of our other videos over there on our main channel, click over these ones. And before you click those, look up top and click the subscribe button. Or if you're new, click the subscribe button. Help support me, support Jenna. We'll see you guys in the next few videos. I don't know what she said. Maybe. If there's enough food or something. We can go pick something up. Oh yeah, that would be good for dinner. Maybe get salmonella poisoning. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Oh, I need to stop.